Hi everyone, thank you for coming to hear me speak about one of the greatest presidents of all time, Franklin D. Roosevelt. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin Delano Roosevelt said these famous words on his first day as the 32nd President of the United States in the middle of the worst economic situation in U.S. history. When the United States needed an individual to boost the country back on its feet, FDR stepped up and helped the U.S. become the powerhouse it is today. Most of his programs implemented during the Great Depression, such as Social Security and the FDIC, are still important to our country presently. When the people around the country were ready to take on the Axis powers during World War II, Roosevelt helped motivate and strategize the military to defeat Nazi Germany and its allies. FDR took charge and helped the struggling United States recover through the worst economic downturn in history and a victory in World War II. When Roosevelt was inaugurated as president on March 3, 1933, the United States was at its lowest point in the Great Depression. To resolve financial panic and the bank runs throughout the country, he began his first 100 days of his presidency by shutting down all banks until Congress could pass a resolution for reform. The Emergency Banking Act was passed in just 6 days after he was inaugurated, displaying to the American people that he was trying to help the country out as quickly and as efficiently as possible. This was only the beginning of FDR's main plan, because between 1933 and 1938, FDR enacted a series of programs aimed at creating jobs and producing stability known as the New Deal. In the first New Deal, Roosevelt launched in 1933 the Federal Emergency Relief Administration, or FARA, which gave grants and loans to states to operate relief programs. The Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, also enacted in 1933, employed 3 million men in 9 years in manual labor jobs related to conservation and development of natural resources. The Agricultural Adjustment Administration, or AAA, which was by 1935 increased the income generated by farms by 50% by paying farmers subsidies to reduce crop production. The Public Works Administration, or PWA, which spent over $6 billion to build large-scale public works, drove America's biggest construction effort up to that date. And the Tennessee Valley Authority, or the TVA, provided power to control floods and modernize agriculture in the Tennessee Valley, a region especially devastated by the Depression. Roosevelt's second New Deal of 1935 to 36 established more programs to keep stability and to form more jobs. The Worker Project Administration, or the WPA, was established, which employed millions of unemployed people to carry out public work projects, and the National Labor Relations Act was signed into law to guarantee the basic rights of private sector employees, like organizing the trade unions. During Roosevelt's first term in office, unemployment fell significantly from 25% to 14.3%, and by the end of his presidency, it had fell to 1.9% due to World War II. The economy grew 58% from 1932 to 1940 in 8 years of peacetime, and then grew 56% from 1940 to 1945 in 5 years of wartime. Once things at home were starting to turn around, Franklin D. Roosevelt focused onto the national stage. In the initial stage of World War II, Roosevelt made the United States the arsenal of democracy, and through the Lend-Lease policy, the U.S. supplied the Allied nations food, oil, materials, and weaponry, including warships and planes, at a total of $51 billion, or $659 billion today. Through Executive Order 8807, Roosevelt created the Office of Scientific Research and Development, or OSRD, to direct scientific research for military purposes during the war. OSRD would later result in the first atomic bombs. Alongside British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, Roosevelt drafted the Atlantic Charter, which defined the war goals of the Allied nations. It was issued as a joint declaration on August 14, 1941, and was later endorsed by all Allied nations. After the Pearl Harbor attacks, Roosevelt became one of the leading figures in the Allied coalition. He helped in formation of an informal alliance between the U.S., Britain, USSR, and China to coordinate the Allied war effort. Roosevelt met with Churchill and Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union, in several conferences that would lead to vital strategies. One such conference is the Quebec Conference of 1943, which had discussions on a nation Operation Overlord, or otherwise known as D-Day, that would eventually lead to a successful invasion of Nazi German occupied Western Europe. Therefore, FDR assisted in strategizing the Allied victory. FDR helped save not only the U.S., but also the world from a monstrous power. To sum everything up, FDR provided a humongous amount of support to a struggling U.S. economy and provided leadership when it needed it most. He also provided the world a leadership role when the world was at its scariest time. Thank you. I'm pretty good. That was 5 minutes.
You went through it.
I know. If not,
We should have timed it.
I did,
Oh, good.
but I'm still trying to figure out how to turn the camera up, sorry.
It's still